Hey, how's it going, everybody? My name is Big Country, and I run a small little channel here on YouTube called Country Living. And I have came across the Very Vocal Vapers channel and the website and so forth, and I'm really digging what they're doing, trying to help get our messages out to the senators and our representatives and all that, so we can kind of defend ourselves when it comes to vaping and the pain that we're going through right now with the FDA and all these regulations, and it's just a bunch of crap. So I really dig how Triple V is doing their part to try to share our stories with our representatives. So I figured I would go ahead and share my story to maybe help fuel the or give more ammunition for the vapors to get our voices out. Let these people know why we vape and how it's helped us and so forth. So while I'm sitting here rebuilding or re-ricking my RDA, figured I'd go ahead and answer a few questions and then tell you my story when I'm done with those.
When did you start smoking?
I started smoking when I was 15 years old.
When did you start vaping?
I started vaping February 8th of 2017. That is my vaporversary.
What device and nicotine strength did you start on, and what setup and nicotine strength are you using now?
My first device was a AL85, the baby alien from Smoke Tech, and I started with a 6 mg e-juice, and I am currently on a 3 mg, and I feel like I'm getting ready to downgrade myself from a 3 to a 1.5 right now. But when it comes to the devices, I just use many devices. I have, I'm a reviewer, so I come over with a lot of stuff. So I have many devices, but what I use mostly is my VGod mech, because I love mechs. Or the Captain PD270. That's the regulator that I tend to carry more often than any others.
Do you still smoke at all? And if so, how much have you cut down?
No, I do not smoke at all. At all. I quit, I started vaping on February, actually, I guess I started vaping. The reason I say February 8th, 2017, my vaporversary, is because that's the day I quit smoking. But I actually started vaping. I got my vape around the 4th of February. So, and I think the only reason, or I know the only reason that I continued smoking for those 4 days, because I felt like I had to finish out that pack of cigarettes that I had. But it took me 4 days to finish that 3/4 of a pack of cigarettes. So once that pack was gone, I haven't touched one since. So February 8th is my official cigarette quit date. February 4th or 5th was like my first time buying the vape.
Did you dual use for a time before quitting smoking entirely, and if so, how long? Or did you switch immediately? Or did you stop tobacco, nicotine entirely for a while and then start using a low-risk alternative?
I believe I already, I just answered that on the previous question. So yeah, I just smoked for a few days once I got the vape, but after that it was entirely quitting.
What other methods, patches, Chantix, Nicorette gum, etc., did you use to try to quit smoking before switching to a smoke-free alternative? How long were you able to go without smoking using these other methods before starting again?
Before vaping, I did try the patches. I tried the lozenges, and neither one of them worked for me. For some reason, I was allergic to the patches. I wore the patches for about a week before I went to the beach to Panama City. And while I was down there, I broke into on my way down there, I started feeling an itch, but I broke into a rash. And come to find out it was those patches, because once I took them off, the rash started going away after about a day. I contacted my doctor. He's like, well, he's never really heard of anybody having a reaction to it like that, but I did. And that's the only thing that went different in my life at that time. No fabric softener, no laundry detergent, nothing else was different. And if it was just me going to the beach catching something on the way, then surely once I took the patches off, it wouldn't have just went away. So I wanted to be allergic to the patches, and the lozenges just sucked, man. They burnt your mouth, burnt your tongue. It was just horrible. I just none of it worked for me.
What changes in the quality of your life, both positive and negative, have you noticed since adopting the smoke-free alternative?
Well, I think a couple things is the smoking. I definitely feel myself, I can breathe better. I got 34 steps I climb from my car to my front door. I'm still, I'm still fat, so I get winded from that, but my breathing is, I can definitely tell that I'm not winded when I get to the top of my steps anymore. Maybe a little heavy breath, but not as much as it was. So, that's the number one thing. And when it comes to other things, I would say vaping saves you money if you do it just to stay off cigarettes. But I got sucked into the hobby zone. I'm a hobbyist, I'm a mixologist, I'm a reviewer, so it hasn't saved me money because of the route that I went. But if it was just comes to, because I was spending $450 a month on cigarettes. So, like I said, if you're just doing it just to quit smoking, you can definitely save money. But for me, it wound up costing me more money because I'm in the hobby zone and I'm an enthusiast. So, but it's fun. It's a fun hobby to have for me. I really, really enjoy it.
If there was one thing you could say to your representatives as to why vaping should stay, what would that be?
Well, I know Joe Manchin and Shelley Moore Capito, amongst a couple others, are my local congressmen. I have texted them and I have written them. I have emailed them, tweeted them many times. So they do know my voice is on this stuff. Well, they like her, and I know Shelley Moore. Her response was not as positive as I'd like it to be, or as it should be, in my opinion. But Joe seemed like he was more positive in his response. Just one thing, man, here's the thing, even if you try to outlaw it or quit it or take vaping away or whatever, the ones of us, we're not, because here's the thing, when it comes to vaping, as a whole, you can regulate it, but listen, like when I do my own mixes, I got my own juices, I got my own nicotine, I got my own PG, I got my own VG. All that stuff separately is not illegal. You can't control it. Well, I guess you can, but you're not going to stop bakeries from buying extracts and shit, right? So, whether you can do what you want, honestly. I'm not stopping. I'm not going to go back to cigarettes. I won't let you do that to me. I'm not the guy who's going to plead to you. I'm going to tell you the facts. You ain't going to stop me. Period. I smoked for 26 years. I started at 15 years old, and the reason I started was because, my friends around me were smoking, and it was the cool thing to do, right? And I was smoking behind my mother's back. She knew I was smoking, so she spoke to my grandmother. And my grandmother actually is the one that told my mother to buy them for me. Her reasoning was, I'm going to do it whether she wants me to or not. So it's better for her to supply them to me. That way at least she knows where it's coming from and if there's anything, extra that's put into it. So I hate trying to use this word, but they felt it was safer for me as opposed to trying to forbid me. I've always been that one to, you're not going to tell me what to do. I cannot stand someone who tries to tell me what to do. I'm my own fucking person. I'm my own person. You are not going to tell me what I can and cannot do. I don't care who it is. Supervisors at work, my so-called elected officials who have the right to tell me what I can and can't do, i.e. vape or not. It's not going to happen. So, I started, like I said, 15 years old. My mother started buying them for me. Remember, it was GPC lights, man. Remember GPC? Cheap old cigarette. GPC, generic price cigarettes is what that stood for. But anyway, and about 5 years into it or so is when I started smoking heavier. Because, starting out about maybe a pack a day. I don't remember the rule. A pack of cigarettes had to last me 2 days. When my mother was buying them. But the longer I smoked, of course, the more I smoked, the more I wanted, and so forth. So I got up to 2 packs a day when I was around 21 years old. I remember I was in college. I was playing football. I mean, I was still active and all that stuff. Playing football, played some in college. Of course, played high school. Played some in college and played semi-pro. Granted that did affect my cardio, of course. I did, but I felt like I was still good enough to do my job, and I was okay, if I say so myself. I started, so must have been doing something right. Granted, I could always feel the fatigue, which probably wouldn't have felt as much fatigue if I wasn't smoking at the time, but I did anyway. But nevertheless, I smoked for 2 packs a day for the next 20 years. And then I just got to, I've tried to quit, and I kept saying over for years, I need to quit, I know I need to quit, I need to quit, I need to quit, and tried to quit. Nice, freshly whipped on the Springer X with my interlocking alien coils. It is a .14 build. And we're going to use some Beard number 24, one of my new favorite juices. Such great. It's a salted caramel malt. Really good. But, I smoked for 20 years, and like I said, you always say we need to, we want to, and all that stuff, but you realize, after you finally quit, you realize you just wasn't ready in all those other attempts. You felt, people have their own reasons or motivations to try to quit or to quit. And I used my family as a motivation, and my son, he told me for years, dude, you just need to stop. You need to stop. You need to stop. And look at it back now, I wish I had it earlier when he was younger as opposed to now. But it just comes down, you have to want it. You have to want to quit yourself. And vaping helped me, gave me that avenue to where I could get off tobacco, could get off the cigarettes. And it lets you determine your own nicotine strengths and your levels and so forth, So I started at 6, I'm down to 3, and I'm getting ready to cut down to 1.5. Now eventually I'll be at 0. And once the whole nicotine habit's done, you stop feeling that nicotine urge. Once that's all done, you got to worry about getting rid of the puff habit. Now, I've had determined, noticed a few things. My taste buds, things I taste is way different than it used to be, for sure. They say the longer you're away from smoking, the more your taste buds kind of regenerate themselves and so forth, reboot, so to speak. And that's true. I'm tasting things now that I've never really tasted before, and some things that I used to love just have a completely different taste, and I don't love them as much as I used to. It's just your taste and the flavor just enhances, and honestly, just vaping has helped that happen. And you know what else is the thing? Vaping has actually helped me on my diet. Now, I'm not currently actively on my diet right now, but I have lost 80 pounds over the past year and a half. And the last 6 months, I have lost 40 of that. And I solely believe this vaping has helped me because it helps cure that sweet tooth, right? I'm currently not actively on my diet, and I'm getting ready to go back onto it. I gotta motivate myself to do that as well. So I kind of like, once I hit 40 or close to 40, I go on this whole health kick. I need to get healthier. I need to quit smoking. I need to lose weight. You know what I mean? It's just, I don't know. The older you get in the different stages of your life, you just kind of think about different priorities. I kind of went off topic, but I think it all goes in hand because vaping is really, if you vape sweet juices, the thick, nice dessert vapes, which I love, and the custards, you get that sweetness, and it cankers that sweet tooth. You don't grab that candy bar or that, or piece of candy. You just don't need it because you canker it with the sweet tooth with the vape, and without getting the calories and the sugars and the fats and all that stuff into your body. So that's just another advantage of vaping. Is I think it can help you with your diets. It can be used as a diet aid. Zero nicotine, nothing but flavor. I think I saw a device here recently that they're starting to push that as a diet vape. So let's see how the FDA looks at that in the medical world. But yeah, that's it for me. I'm all wicked up. I'm juiced up. Not completely saturated yet. But that's my story. If you haven't shared your story with Very Vocal Vapers yet, I do encourage you to do so. Or either put a comment down below. I'm sure there'll be a link for the website in the description of this video as well. Maybe their Facebook. Contact her. Christine will get back with you, I'm sure, as soon as possible, and she'll schedule something with you to share your story. We all need to. We all need to come together as a community, without a doubt. Because if we don't fight this, no one's going to do it for us. We have some people up there that are actually, Kasa and Safada and a bunch of other ones, not blowing smoke, things like that are really doing their part to try to help us be our voice. But we have to help them. We have to give them ammunition. We have to fuel them so they have other things, so they have things to argue. And our stories give them that ammunition when they're out there fighting these freaking idiots. I don't want to say idiots, I'm sorry. These people, wherever the hell they may be, in Washington or the FDA, the government, whoever. Do your part. Share your story. And in the end, we will all be living a healthier life. I want to thank Very Vocal Vapers for allowing me to share my story, for doing this video. And again, I encourage more of you to do the same. Triple V, once again, I do really adore, and I'm all for what you're doing. And I hope it goes very, very well for you. Keep doing you, sweetheart. And we're going to win this battle. Thanks so much for watching, guys. Have a great day.